Hello, friends. If you were born between 1965 and 1980, I need you to hear something that most people in your generation have not been told clearly, because the numbers show that Generation X is heading into retirement in a worse position than any generation before it, including your parents. And the most dangerous part is that this crisis is happening quietly, without the headlines that boomers get, without the attention that millennials get, in a generation that has already survived 8 recessions, the dot-com crash, the 2008 financial crisis, COVID, and years of high inflation during what should have been peak earning years. Stay with me until the end, because I am going to show you exactly where Gen X stands right now in real numbers, what makes this worse than what boomers faced, and 5 specific moves you can make right now that could change your retirement outcome dramatically. Subscribe right now and turn on the bell, because retirement rules, contribution limits, and Social Security projections are all changing in 2026, and I cover every update the moment it comes out. Let us start with the numbers, because they tell the story more clearly than anything else. The median retirement savings for a Gen X household right now is $107,000. That is the middle number. Half of all Gen X households have more, half have less. For a retirement that could last 25 to 30 years, that amount will not last long. Only 14% of Gen X workers have a traditional pension. Compare that to the boomer generation, where pension coverage was far more common. For most Gen Zers, there is no guaranteed monthly income waiting at the end of their working years. Everything depends on what they personally saved in 401k plans, IRAs, and other accounts. And here is what makes the savings gap even more alarming. The personal savings rate in America right now is just 3%. People are spending nearly everything they earn. Even Gen Zers who are still working and in what should be their peak earning years are not building the retirement cushion they need. Now here is the Social Security problem that is unique to Gen X, and this is where it gets very specific. Generation X is the first full generation in American history where the full retirement age is 67 with no transitional exceptions. Boomers born between 1943 and 1959 had a full retirement age of 66 or lower. Gen Zers born in 1960 or later all face 67 with no flexibility. And here is exactly why that matters right now. If a Gen Zer claims Social Security at 62 because they need the income, they receive only about 70% of their full benefit permanently. But that is not the worst part. If the Social Security Trust Fund is depleted in 2032 while they are still receiving that reduced benefit, the automatic cut of 22% applies to their already reduced amount. That means a Gen Zer who claimed early could end up receiving as little as 54% of what they were promised, and 77% of Gen Zers say they are already concerned that Social Security will not be there for them when they retire. Yet 81% say they are planning to rely substantially on Social Security for retirement income. That combination, counting heavily on something you are not sure will be there, is the most dangerous position any generation has been in approaching retirement. Now here is something that most Gen Zers do not know about, and it may be the single most powerful financial tool available to them right now in 2026. If you are between the ages of 60 and 63, you qualify for what is called a super catch-up contribution to your 401k. This is a brand new rule that just went into effect this year. Here is exactly how that works. The standard 401k contribution limit in 2026 is $24,500. If you are 50 or older, you can add an $8,000 catch-up contribution for a total of $32,500. But if you are specifically between 60 and 63, you can contribute an additional $11,250 instead of $8,000, giving you a total annual contribution of $35,750. That extra $3,250 per year between the regular catch-up and the super catch-up may not sound enormous. But compounded over 5 years until retirement at 67, at a reasonable investment return, it can add up to $20,000 or more in additional retirement savings. And that is before any employer match on top of it. Now here is the healthcare gap that almost nobody talks about when it comes to Gen X retirement planning. Medicare does not start until age 65. If you retire or need to stop working at 62, you face 3 years with no Medicare coverage. Private health insurance for a 62-year-old couple can cost between $800 and $1,500 per month or more, depending on your state and coverage level. That is up to $18,000 per year just in premiums, before any copays or deductibles. Most Gen Zers building retirement plans assume they can retire at 62 and immediately have Medicare. They cannot. That 3-year bridge from 62 to 65 is one of the most expensive and least discussed parts of early retirement for this generation. Specifically, so here are the 5 moves every Gen Zer needs to make right now. Move 1. If you are between 60 and 63, maximize the super catch-up contribution this year. $35,750 is the maximum. Even getting to $20,000 per year instead of the minimum puts you in a significantly better position. Move 2. Do not plan to retire at 62 without a concrete healthcare plan for the 3 years before Medicare. Get a quote from healthcare.gov for your specific state and age right now before you finalize any retirement timeline. For many Gen Zers, this one number changes their retirement date by 1 to 2 years. Move 3. If you have any 0 or low earning years in your Social Security record, work with your Human Resources Department or call SSA directly to understand whether you can replace those years. Every additional year of earnings above your lowest year increases your eventual benefit. At 61, you still have years to improve your record. Move 4. Log into your My Social Security account at ssa.gov and look at your projected benefit at 62, 67, and 70. Then ask yourself specifically, if Social Security pays me only 78% of that projected amount starting in 2032, can I still cover my basic expenses? If the answer is no, that tells you exactly how much additional income or savings you need to build between now and retirement. Move 5. Contact your congressional representative and both U.S. senators and tell them specifically, I am a Gen X voter, I am approaching retirement age, and I need you to commit to fixing Social Security before the trust fund runs out in 2032. Gen X is the generation most directly affected by this deadline, and its political power has been historically underestimated. So here is the complete picture. Generation X, born between 1965 and 1980, is the first full generation facing a full retirement age of 67 with no exceptions, a median retirement savings of only $107,000, only 14% with pensions, a Social Security trust fund that may pay only 78% of scheduled benefits starting in 2032, and a 3-year healthcare gap between early retirement and Medicare. The 5 moves to make right now. Maximize the super catch-up contribution if you are 60 to 63. Plan for the healthcare bridge gap before 65. Improve your earnings record while you still can. Check your 78% scenario at ssa.gov. And contact Congress now while there is still time to fix this. If this video helped you understand where your generation stands and what you can actually do about it, subscribe and turn on the bell because I will cover every policy change that affects Gen X retirement the moment it happens. And share this with every Gen Zer in your life because this is the generation that gets the least retirement advice and needs it the most. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.